Good. All right. Hey, everybody. D. Lisa West, spiritual life coach and dream doula.
And I'm Christina Spatero, psychotherapist and relationship coach.
Sweet. Before we hit record, we were talking about if it's okay or not to be a professional and talk about spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you're a minister, it's okay.
Yeah.
If you're a rabbi, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you're, the Dalai Lama, it's perfectly okay.
Right.
But some of us take our jobs so seriously that we don't think we can go there. And I'll just share a little bit of what happened yesterday for me, and then we can riff off of that.
Okay.
Yesterday morning, I woke up and I was not necessarily worried or in fear, but I wasn't necessarily in like a really high vibe as soon as I woke up. So I thought, oh, don't forget, think about 5 gratitudes before your feet hit the floor. And so I did. I could think of 5 or maybe 10 gratitudes. And then I actually spent my time before I was too caffeinated meditating. And I listened to 3 or 4 different meditation recordings that I had. And then I thought, I feel pretty good right now. I'm going to imagine that I'm talking to my angel, that I have a specific angel that has been with me my whole life, that's helping me. I heard a guy named Kyle Gray talk about angels, and he's an angel communicator. He's got this beautiful Irish accent, I think. And so he said, if you want to talk to your angels, you need to be grateful. Don't just beg them to help you when things are bad. Just say, I'm so grateful that you're with me today. I'm so happy. So I spent yesterday just saying, I'm so happy and grateful that you are with me and guiding me in my intuitive mind. So I know that intuition is small, quiet, calm voice, not a big, scary voice like fear is. So I just went through my day doing this and doing that, putting up flyers for a class I'm going to do. And everywhere I went, it was easy and fun and not all frustrating.
Nice.
I went to one end of town and then I went to another end of town, and I thought, ooh, I remember doing this when I was a real estate broker and feeling really frustrated that I had to look at all these houses. I had to, and I put them all in different orders, and it could have been more succinct and an easier tour. And at the end of the day, I'd just be like frustrated and upset. But going through my day thinking I had angelic help was beautiful because it took some of the pressure off my human brain. So how have you successfully used spirituality in your practice or maybe in your own life?
So personally, I'm a very spiritual person. So I do believe that things happen for a reason. I do believe that everything we go through is part of this life journey. Now, of course, I don't welcome the hardships. That's kind of masochistic and crazy. But when I do go through difficult things, I think, what am I supposed to learn from this?
Oh,
Or what is this giving me that maybe will allow me to help somebody else? So that's sort of how I look at it. And I do believe, I believe that we are spiritual beings in a physical form. So I don't believe that this world is all there is. I do believe in God. I do have that. But I also recognize that people have different beliefs, and I respect that. So I never want a client of mine because I have clients who are atheists. I have clients who don't believe, and that's fine. I'm non-judgmental, and I actually, feel that's the way it's supposed to be, non-judgmental. So I'm not going to force my belief system on you because that's not right. So, but if I have a client who is spiritual, who does have faith of some kind, I encourage it, because if you think that it all is dependent on you, that I have, that everything I do, it's all dependent on me, that is way too much pressure.
Agreed.
But
Agreed.
if you believe it's part of a life journey and that maybe you're gonna go through some experiences, because how is this leading to the growth of you as a person? I I think that takes a lot of the pressure off.
I agree. And also, I was thinking recently, one of the meditations I listened to had this comment in it. It's like there's in the whole universe and in the 7 billion people on the
Mhm,
planet, there's only one me.
mhm,
There's no one else like me, and there's no
mhm,
one else that has my gifts and talents. And
mhm.
so, me sharing my gifts and talents is my whole job here, to be loud
Yes.
and share
Yes.
who I am authentically. And yeah, I was just thinking the other day when I was younger, I used to love photography. And
Mm,
then for a while, I got into knitting. And
mhm,
then for a while, I did gardening.
mhm.
And now what I love to do creatively is visual art. I like to use
Nice.
with pens and pencils and paints. And someone told me recently that I hadn't seen in over 30 years because of me. They take photos now and
Oh.
they love doing photography. And I went, because of me? And they said, I remember when you used to do it, when I knew you back in the
Mhm,
such and such year.
mhm,
And that was when we didn't have digital cameras yet, film cameras. I had a
mhm,
little back room in the basement and I
mhm.
printed my own prints, and some of them were really truly bad. But the fact that he remembered that I got a lot of joy out of it was amazing to me. And the fact that it inspired him to be more creative, that's just like one of the tiny things we can do when we're shining our light on the planet.
Absolutely. I truly believe each of us is meant to shine our individual life on the planet.
Yeah.
The and this is why when I do have clients who've gone through such tragedies and hardships, and this is actually why some of my clients do struggle with questions of, spirituality and faith, like, why am I suffering? Why
Mhm.
do I have to go through this? And yeah, I admit it, it's horrible and it sucks. And I'm like, so the idea, okay, is there any way you can use this experience to help yourself or someone else?
Oh, that's such a beautiful idea because sometimes people can. One of the things I ask people when they're kind of closing out last year and looking at
Hmm.
the year to
Hmm.
come forward is like, what were your three main losses
Hmm.
last year? And if you can tell, write down what the three, the golden, what do you call it? The golden gift in there. I'm not
Hmm. The
right.
golden gift.
So what was the gift in those adversaries?
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't see it, but I love it so much that maybe the gift is sharing your story with someone else.
Yes, because how many times have we been inspired by somebody
Mm.
who has struggled, and in that we have found inspiration?
Oh, the most inspiring people have had the hardest stories. And then we look at them
Exactly.
and say they're still talking or working
Yes.
or living, and all this stuff
Yes.
happened to them.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
It's so beautiful. And see, that's the thing. And again, we're not saying you invite hardship, and we're not saying you have to feel good about the hardship. You can say, yeah, this really sucks.
Mhm, mhm.
But if you just look at, the key is not to see yourself as a perpetual victim. Because if you see yourself as a perpetual victim, it doesn't let you grow from it. Then you're kind of just stuck in, this was a terrible thing that happened to me. Nothing in my life goes well. And you can go down that rabbit hole. But if you are like, I went through this and I survived it, or I'm still going through it, but I'm still standing, what
Yes.
does that mean?
Yes. And I think that actually we're in a beautiful time on the planet where
Hmm.
science and religion or science and spirituality are
Hmm.
finally intersecting,
Hmm.
especially the kind of spirituality where that's been around for 100 or 150 years, where
Hmm. Hmm.
they're saying it's metaphysical. Your
Hmm.
thoughts have energy, and we
Yes.
can now measure that. Like we can measure people's brain waves, we can measure the energy around their bodies, and we
Mhm.
know that this may or may not be true, but the idea that we're a soul having a human experience in a body, but our soul is so much more than our body, that only
Yes.
20% of it fits in, and the other
Yes.
80% is just out
It's
there,
just
maybe
out and
up in the
about.
ethers, or just floating around us, and we're like,
Yeah.
maybe our energy is as big as 2 blocks, maybe it's
There
as big
you
as
go.
and we all know this because we sat next to someone who felt good or felt
Yes.
creepy.
Yes. We've definitely picked up on the energy.
Yeah.
And I've actually had clients who are more spiritually inclined, and they've said, I really like your aura. Like, I like
Oh,
the energy coming off. I'm like, thank you.
that's beautiful. Yes, because we're heart-centered humans, and we want to be with people who make us feel better.
Yes. Especially when you're
And
going through a difficult time. You've already experienced something that's hard, or you're going through something that's hard. So if you're whether you're going to a therapist or a coach or both, you want to feel a level of comfort with them,
yeah,
which is
absolutely.
another reason I don't impose my beliefs on anyone, because again, it comes from you. I am merely a guide. The choices you make are yours. I'm merely there to help guide you.
Yes, and I think, especially in the USA,
Mhm.
churches are being less and less popular with people.
Mhm.
And I,
Mhm.
I read an article recently that our spiritual community, which used to be at the local church,
Mhm.
now that people are pretty singular, maybe they just live in their own house, or maybe they live in
Mhm.
a house where everybody's just in their own room watching their own TV.
Mhm.
They don't go to the church on Sunday, and they don't
Mhm.
have that community of people who used to in the past cook them a meal if they were sick, or come
Mhm.
help them if they needed help in their house or garden. And just that community lifted us all up. And so what are we
Exactly.
replacing that with?
Right, because here there's a difference between, see, if you actually believe we are all together in this world and we're meant to help each other, and your spirituality arises out of that, then
Mm,
you're going to do these things like love thy neighbor and be there and support. The
right.
problem is you have people who, now, there are churches that are doing that, that are doing great work in the community, but you have others where you may have some mega churches who honestly are more about the money and the power. Whenever you allow money and power to corrupt anything, you're losing the essence of what it is. So, I'm going to use a movie.
Okay.
So,
Right.
there is a movie called The Bishop's Wife. It Now it was remade as The Preacher's Wife with Whitney Houston, but the original movie was called The Bishop's Wife with David Niven, Cary Grant, and Loretta Young. So the premise of this is that there's this Anglican bishop who has this dream of building this great cathedral, and it will be like a testimony to God and all this great thing. So he's praying, like, for, because he's trying to get the money and everything to get this big cathedral. And so an angel comes down, an angel in the form of Cary Grant. Now the thing is, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. So the bishop has in his head this great edifice is what his legacy is going to be, but the Cary Grant angel is trying to remind him why he became a bishop in the first place.
Mm,
It was to serve his community. It was to serve his people. It was to give people that spiritual solace that you're talking about. It was to help people who are struggling. So it doesn't matter how big the building is or how fancy or any of that stuff. But again, he was still a good man, but he'd sort of lost his way because he forgot the true. And I think some of these churches, unfortunately, are bad PR for true spirituality because they've forgotten their core mission. And they're more about the money. And some of them also can, be more rejecting than they should be of people.
hmm Mhm. I'm reminded of my Auntie Karen lived until she was, I think, 98, and she had a local church that she loved to go to. That one of her sons disapproved of because the minister was gay.
Mhm.
But my auntie said, I don't care. I like him. And when she was on her deathbed during COVID, the entire church choir came to her house and sang to her.
Oh,
Isn't that beautiful?
that is beautiful.
They came and just sang for, I think, an hour and then left her.
Wow.
And she was really, really almost dead then. She was laying in hospice care in a bed. She couldn't sit up. She couldn't really communicate that much. But it was so touching and so beautiful that this
Mhm.
church that she loved so much that her son didn't even approve of would
Mhm.
come and minister to her in her final days. So that's, that's true spirituality, where
Yes.
we're all 7 billion of us are connected,
Yes.
which we saw clearly during COVID, how we're connected
Yes.
with germs and what the air we breathe.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And to think that we're all connected in a mental state as well
Mhm.
is a really interesting way to look at the world. And
Yes.
if one of us changes our point of view or
Mhm.
gets a particular goal done,
Mhm.
we're raising up everyone on the planet. Everyone
Yes.
else benefits from our higher vibration and our more complete knowing.
That's beautiful and perfect, and you're right.
All right, let's end it there.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Bye,
Christine.
everybody. Welcome.
Bye.
Thank you.